Hello everyone, and welcome to our documentary, The Fight Behind the Fight. Just to mention that this is not a set title, so we're working on it to see if we keep it or not, but we've named it like this for now. Our documentary presents firstly some general information about the mixed martial arts, very briefly though, and then how this is one of the fastest growing businesses in the world. But we are focusing more on the underground UK fighting scene and how this is different than the Ultimate Championship, the Ultimate Fighting Championship, sorry, I'm really nervous. Our focus will be on one main character who is currently a cage fighter. He is currently a cage fighter and he's doing it in Swindon, where he lives, and we'll basically kind of follow him into his everyday life and his training. We'll follow him into his training for an upcoming fight. The story will be told by the character himself, so he will be the person who narrates all the time. Yeah.
Okay, so it's an observation documentary. We'll be observing the fighter training, also doing everyday activities. So we'll be getting the everyday activities. We'll be getting sort of a more human side to him. So we'll be showing, like, you get the aggressive side through the training. The bits you don't see is what they're like every day. So you really get a sense of who these people are, why they do the sport. You know, why do they go. Just to fight other people. We will have archive footage, both professional fights and of like home videos and stuff. So at the beginning we'll have a montage, just to make the introduction kind of exciting and give the viewers something exciting to watch. So for this reason, so we'll make this quite fast-paced, so it'll be quite intriguing to the viewers, and it'll keep them interested. And obviously, the fast pace reflects the exciting, kind of dangerous side of the cage fighting. Rather than it being kind of slow and boring, it will keep it appropriate. So why are we doing this now? The sport is getting bigger and bigger. It's getting more of a business than a sport now. There's a lot of money in it, and also particularly for us personally, we have access to a fighter who's obviously coming up to a fight, so it really gives us a chance to, really gives us access into it, gives us a good opportunity to film. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, so to the character, it's Shakil Latif. He's an MMA fighter in Swindon. He used to fight mainly in Leeds, but he's now starting there as well. The story is going to be told from his point of view and his experience. He started MMA fighting with a very young age because he grew up fighting a lot of people with his brother together. Not always the most legal stuff. And he's going to tell us what he thinks about fighting and what he gained from it, from doing it officially as an MMA fighter. He's a very relatable character. He has 2 children, he has a fiancée, she's currently pregnant, and he also has a job next to the MMA fighting. He needs to train a lot, and he also struggles for the money, which is problems that occur with like a lot of people. Yeah, and yeah, we think it will be a good way to connect to the audience and keep their interest on.
We thought we'll have an audience, quite a universal audience, in the sense that, as we said already, it's a growing business. They're doing 600 millions of revenue and 157 million of pounds profit. Thank you. That was last year only, so it's increasing every year. It's kind of doubling. The profits are doubling every year, so we thought obviously there is a market there, that people are interested in seeing it. Of course, I think they would be interested in seeing them behind the fight as well, how the people are, why they're doing it, as we previously said. I thought the quote here is very relevant, as one of the co-owners of the EFC are saying that no matter what color you are, what language you speak, what country you are from, it is fighting. At some level, people do get it. I think it's a kind of primal instinct of people to be interested in fights, and we all get intrigued, and most of us like to watch it as well, or obviously want to find out more about it.
With the timescale, it's pretty straightforward in the sense that we're going to start production on the 21st to the 18th, and then we're aiming to complete on the 18th if everything goes well. So far with the production process, we're pretty confident that this should be alright. We were thinking of releasing it pretty close to the completion, because then we can get everything wrapped up quickly, and it gives us more of like a motivation. And then during production, obviously things can go wrong. For example, if there's any problems with him coming to interviews, so by having it over a 3-week period, it gives like the opportunity for us to use another cage fighter and like make sure that we have backups because of the time being longer. Yeah. Also with finance, our overall budget is 4,000, and with the filming, the cost for the camera kit will be 320, and the cost for the audio is 70. So overall, that's 320. And then the crew payment has become quite costly because of needing all of them, and this is for 5 hours for 3 days. So that's become 3,000. So for the use of the editing room, we aim to edit for 5 half days at the moment, which is 80 each. So we'll come to 400. And then obviously our budget is 3,720, and no, our budget, sorry, 4,000, and at the moment we have 3,720, so that leaves us maybe more editing time if we need to, because obviously 5 half days is quite a small amount of time, so yeah, we'll probably add more editing in after we've looked at it.
Yeah, and for the production roles, we currently have Laura as the main director going to do that. Freddie is going to be in charge of the producer, so if we're having some sort of discussion and we cannot find just the right play, in the end it's going to be Freddie. Ross, because he also already has 2 years of experience making documentaries, is going to be in charge of cinematographer, of lights mainly, and the camera, and I'm going to do the editing. And thank you for listening, and if you have any questions.
They're good, these pictures. I think they're really good, so well done all of you. Enjoying okay, one thing is the same as the last group. You're pushing a film which is predicated on one character. Where are they? Where's a clip of them? As part of your pitch. I want to know, are they any good or not? Because if they're boring, we might as well stop right there, yeah? Secondary, for someone who's never seen mixed martial arts fighting or cage fighting, a clip of what it looks like would get it. If I was pitching it to broadcast, I'd say, listen, look at this horrendous stuff here. 2 people fighting like dogs in a cage. And we've got access to this guy here. Have a look at him and see what you think. That's all you need to say, really, in terms of a broadcaster. They'll either like the subject area and think you've got a good character, in which case you're away, or they won't. But no excuse, really, for not having a clip of your main man, and no excuse for not having a clip of what the thing looks like. Just have a think about this. Have a think where the heart of your film is. Is the heart of your film in the sort of dressing room before the fight? Is that where it is? Is that the centre of it? Do you show the fight?
No.
We were going to end on like him as he's about to walk in, so it's kind of like before the fight, so it's the process before.
Because the fight was just recently announced it's going to be next year, so it would be afterwards, and that's why we are going to do it.
Well,
and preparations, all that stuff.
Well, hang on, so it's not that's a big issue, is it not? That's a big issue, guys. So your film is in the dressing room before a fight, but the fight ain't taking place.
No, the training, the build up to the fight, like how he's training and how he's going about building up to the fight.
We have
Not
like
that
footage of old fights which he's done, and we're just basically showing him like his life and his journey as a fighter.
That's a different thing. That's a much less focused and dramatic conceit, isn't it? What do you think about that, Alison? I thought that's what we
yeah,
really
I
pitched.
thought because it's funny. The first thing I wrote on my notes was the the event is the fight, because you know with a short piece we're usually working towards an event where something is going to happen, or something has happened and we're working back from that, or something. I just wondered. Yeah, it's nice to get to know a character.
We did want to do that initially, but then we didn't have a fight, unfortunately. So we thought we're just doing like a kind of, a few shots in his everyday life and how he is as,
Portrait.
I don't know.
It's a portrait without a narrative in the drama series. Is it worth looking at real fights that are coming up and who you can get access to?
What's that, sorry?
Is it worth looking at real fights that are happening where you might be able to get access to one or other of the people in it?
I've got access to it.
Yeah, we're thinking about it, yeah.
Is he taking part in any way in an event that? Who knows this guy?
I know him. Yeah.
Ross, can you fight him?
Not really.
Is there a story about why he became a fighter?
Yeah, we have a story about why he became a fighter, but we wanted to get into this for his next fight because last weekend his brother-in-law had a fight and he lost against this guy, and that's exactly why he's wanting to fight the same guy, basically, for his family.
So the rivals.
This is an honour fight.
Yeah, it's like he came to me after the show because I was with him on that day. And it's like, yeah, I want to fight him, and then a bit later I saw them planning it all out and all that stuff.
The jeopardy. Will he, won't he? But we haven't got a conclusion. We can't really leave it without some kind of conclusion.
Well, I think you look. You're heading towards a portrait of an athlete in training, which is fine, but you need something to be happening, to be heading towards something. I think anyway. Do you?
Yeah. Or, I mean, we haven't seen him, so we can't tell whether he. I mean, even if his story is that he became professional rather than criminal. I know there's that thin line that you're alluding to. I don't know without any more research.
Look, it's quite a big scene. It's not beyond the bounds of possibility. You could get access to someone who has a real fight coming up in the next 3 or 4 weeks, yeah? I'll look at that as a possibility.
Yeah.
What else?
Because how could he still be included? So his brother-in-law fights, has he got another fight coming up?
No.
Anyone else that he knows? We haven't had his anniversary, so can you maybe contact his adversary? Because it would be quite nice to get these two personalities that are going to fight.
No, we don't just have to do it maybe on him. If we just like introduce him, and then if we find someone who is doing a fight, we can like introduce them as well, so it's showing like a different background as well, and then do them having the fight instead. Maybe if there is anyone who knows doing.
Yeah. So think of two people where something's going to happen. Otherwise, you do what Discovery Channel do. You construct a fight. You buy in the sacrifice and sacrifice.
The appointed data, I thought 5 half days of editing sounded a bit tight for what you're planning. If you're planning a lot of cuts in there and quite a lot of material, especially anything involving action, so at that stage I thought you were talking about fights. You're going to need more than 5 half days, I think, for a kind of 7-minute film.
They're just trying to keep under budget there. I'm sure that
just-
you can do double that and sort of argue it why it goes over budget. That budget's just a guiding.
Yes, a guidance.
Yeah. It shouldn't be
like
it shouldn't be an
Wasn't like a
expense of your film. It's more to do with renting out equipment and the editing post-production side.
And the learning curve about that, what it costs to hire equipment and your work as well, it costs money.
Did you say you wanted to film the underground scene?
Yeah.
I mean, that could be interesting, but there needs to be more characters.
Oh, we can get more characters.
If they're happy to be on camera.
You're talking about the underground scene. All the figures you're giving are for the overground scene, so to speak, aren't they? The kind of professional body. All the figures you've been giving me of the growth of this, and they don't relate to the underground scene.
I was just saying that obviously there's an interest for this sport in general. So that's why we think we would have an audience for what we're doing too. That was just
So you started kind of showing the bit
Yeah.
that they don't see.
Look, I like the premise. I like the premise of an underground scene of people fighting each other. It's a good one. Why would anyone want to do that? It's got blood and passion and stuff about it. It's got obvious drama about it. So quite interested and committed in that area. But I'm not convinced that a portrait of the guy who doesn't have a fight coming up is the right way of going about it. I think you need to be leading towards something. It's quite a bold step actually, doing what you were proposing doing of cutting off as the guy goes in the ring. It's I don't know whether that works or not. I'd film the fight anyway and then make a decision. But you need something happening. You need a key event you're leading towards. Methinks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go and have
I
a
mean,
think
it
about
could
that.
finish dramatically of him walking into the ring, but only if we know. Yeah.
So a bit of a letdown.
You said it.
Was that?
A bit of a letdown. So I think we do need to find something different for even just the fight.
Good subject. Well presented.
Okay,
Stick
well
at it,
done.
yeah.
Good pitch.
One last year or 2 years ago, there was a famous student who did something similar on boxing, and he followed this guy for a long time. And close to his deadline, the guy, I think he was an alcoholic or something like that, and he was either sacked or disappeared, and he had no document at the end. So you have to be very careful about that, because you rely too much on him. The other thing is that I would like to know how you are going to connect with me, a part of the audience that doesn't believe in fighting. Is it going to be something for me there? And the last question was as well, this all together, is that if definitely there's not going to be a fight, maybe you could be very creative about reenacting, and if the guy is very vivid, describing things, you could really use what he explains from other fights to really do something very cool.
Yeah, we've already looked up that there are gyms in Oxford that actually do MMA training and all that stuff, and we were looking up if they have little events where they of course have sparring fights and all that stuff.
What are the youngest kids who do this? How old are the youngest kids who do this?
You said 17-year-old.
Yeah, there was a 17-year-old on like the last fight.
But you don't have like 8 or 9-year-olds with their parents taking them on or anything?
No.
That's pretty much in America. I don't know how big that is in the UK, to get the children into it.
Has to be.
And which message I'm going to get as somebody who doesn't like fighting?
Well, we kind of wanted to, because obviously everyone knows that it's brutal and it's violent and everything else, but people do it for passion, people do it because they want to, and as I said, it's a primal instinct, so it's two people consenting to fight, it's two people consenting to get hurt, but more than that, we wanted, for someone who doesn't like fighting, we want them to kind of see behind what they are, and that they're, like everyone else, and maybe there are benefits in their lives for doing this, like, help, financially, or even like, I know that, for example, expressing your anger can be a healing somehow, like of your anger or something like that. So that's what we want to show as well.